Look, the trees are turning their own bodies into pillars of light, are giving off the rich fragrance of cinnamon and fulfillment. The long tapers of cattails are bursting and floating away over the blue shoulders of the ponds. And every pond, no matter what its name is nameless now. Every year, everything I have ever learned in my lifetime leads back to this. The fires and the black river of loss, whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold to it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes, to let it go, to let it go.
So chances are, if you're tuning in today, you're doing so on some type of device. This is a digital service after all. So chances are you are watching this on some type of network or media platform. And then chances are before you landed here, you've seen a few other pictures or videos or ads. And no, I'm not heading into some, you need to give up social media for Lent sort of deal. But by the fact that you have probably seen a few pictures, videos, or ads, we can all agree that there are things constantly vying for our attention. So then chances are that this isn't a new idea for you. And we all know this, right? We know that every single day, it's not just social media, that there are tons of things vying for our attention, drawing our focus. And that this in and of itself isn't really a bad thing. But chances are we don't usually consider this as a question rather than just a statement. You know, what is this job, this person, this relationship, this influencer, you fill in the blank, doing for me, causing me to focus on? You see, I think that's a far more interesting question because it causes us to get more practically personal, to really think not just like, is this job stealing away my joy? Should I give up soft drinks for Lent? But rather, what is this doing for me? What is this social media teaching me about the world, about myself? And for whatever it is you fill in the blank, what is this doing for my relationship with God? Throughout Jesus' ministry, there are constantly people who are asking that kind of a question. Like, what are the most important things? What should I be focused on? There's this story of a lawyer who asked Jesus, what is the greatest commandment? Others who directly asked Jesus, how do I get to heaven? And then in the Gospel of Luke, there's this encounter that Jesus has with three people being given the opportunity to follow after Jesus. It says in the 9th chapter that as they were going along the road, someone said to him, I will follow you wherever you go. And Jesus said to him that foxes have holes and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. And then another says, follow me. But he replies, Lord, first let me go and bury my father. But Jesus said to him, the dead shall bury their own dead. But as for you, go and proclaim the kingdom of God. Another says, I will follow you, Lord, but let me say farewell to those at home. And Jesus says to him, no one who puts a hand on the plow and looks back is fit for the kingdom of God. Now look, I'll be the first to admit, these responses from Jesus seem pretty intense. Maybe even confusing, leaving a lot of us thinking, are these just like unrealistic expectations to measure up to? Is Jesus really saying that we're supposed to give up everything in our lives, those things that are most important that maybe even Jesus thinks we should care about, like honoring our family? Well, when you take the translation from Greek to English directly, yeah, it might seem that way. But when we consider more of the context around this story, what Jesus is doing is making the cost of following Christ personal to each of these three people. To the first, it's Christ demonstrating that to follow Jesus means getting uncomfortable. Jesus' life, his ministry, is constantly on the move. There are no luxuries here and certainly no consistency in how the journey might look. And then the next, arguably the harshest of Jesus' response, let the dead bury their own dead. Well, look, logically, logistically, that makes no sense at all. So what's Jesus trying to get at here? He's referring to this person's priority and daily focus. What this person is stating is not my father who's just passed away and I need to go to the funeral, but rather he's talking about his cultural and social expectations that he would be with his family and father until his father passes away. His father may not even be at retirement at this point. But yet still there's this expectation, this focus that the son must remain and stay with this duty as the highest priority before thinking about anything else. And then finally, we have this person who says that he wants to go and say goodbye to their family. Now, Jesus does not seem to be very keen on goodbyes or farewells at this point. But again, when we don't consider the context, we lose the bigger story at play. It's not that Jesus doesn't value family or doesn't value goodbyes. It's that Christ knows that this person's priorities are split. That there's a sense of duty for where this person has been and where Jesus is leading. That there's this drawing and longing to look back on the past and neglect her future. You see, in all three of these exchanges, Jesus encounters our lesser things. Again, these things, they're not bad in and of themselves. But in the case of these three individuals, they have become roadblocks in their pursuit of following Jesus. And again, it's critical we understand the personal nature in which Jesus is addressing each of these three. Not because it means that now our jobs and our families, our responsibilities can become distractions, they can. But because it means it's a reminder for us to take in a fuller, more personal examination of the way in which we order our day and order our lives. So what does your day look like? Where is your focus? I mean, can we really say that if Jesus were to come to us and ask if we would more seriously follow Jesus, that we wouldn't come back with a list of reasons, tasks, and to-dos that need to be checked first before we can start following after Christ? And look, I know me of all saying this probably doesn't seem very fair to you, right? I mean, after all, I am a pastor. It is my job every single day to at least try to have my life ordered and reflective around Christ. But as the theologian Rachel Held Evans once put it, some days I'm just a Christian because it's in my financial best interest to do so. You see, we all have things vying for our attention. Responsibilities and priorities that, if we aren't careful, can so easily trap us into running in this place of a hamster wheel and not recognizing that we've allowed those things to be the things that we serve day in and day out. So think about the start and close of your day. Would you really say that you start your day off with Jesus? Or do you get up and your day is oriented around getting the things done that need to get done for that day? Are you more focused on your task than on your faith, on your responsibilities rather than your relationships? As these potential followers come to Jesus and ask to follow the way, Jesus has this strong response that there are lesser things in our life that can daily steal our focus and attention. To follow Christ, we must be willing to reprioritize, even and especially to the point of sacrifice. You see, Jesus invites us to let go of the lesser things. And that doesn't deem them any less important, and it certainly doesn't mean that they're not worthy of Christ. But that just as with everything, anything can become a distraction. In this encounter with our lesser things, Jesus invites us to see a way of daily orienting our lives that reflects Jesus in every relationship, every task, every job, everything that comes our way. So may you hear again that calling of Christ to enter into a journey. And may we each take it on, not because it's another task to be done, but as a new daily rhythm to be played out.
All this pain, I wonder if I'll ever find my way. I wonder if my life could really change at all. All this earth, could all that is lost ever be found? Could a garden come out from this ground at all? You make beautiful things. You make beautiful things out of the dust. You make beautiful things. You make beautiful things out of us. All around, hope is springing up from this old ground. Out of chaos, life is being formed in you. You make beautiful things.
make me new. You